We know education needs to be changed or reformed, but how do we do it? We know what makes for effective instruction, and we know how people learn. So how do we make this research work in real classrooms, schools, and districts? How can we bridge the gap between what we are already doing and what we want to be able to do?
We don't want to simply find problems. We're interested in finding solutions. We hope to find the change levers that are most instrumental in implementing change in educational systems. Some of the questions we intend to seek answers for are: what factors help facilitate implementation in K-12? What are the change levers? Which stakeholders have the most influence on implementation of systemic change in K-12 schools? Who has the most control over these levers? Who are the change agents?
In regards to people, resources, and planning, what barriers were encountered and how were they overcome? Who drives innovation in the system? Or who does it begin with? And who are the important people in making it happen? And what are the essential elements or steps of the implementation?
To answer these questions, we want to look at school districts who have seen success in their schools. Our initial sample will include teachers, administrators, and district leaders of schools and districts in which significant positive changes have taken place.
We will be conducting an ethnography research study using surveys and interviews to determine what is working and why it is working. We will also attempt to study and articulate attitudes and culture within schools and districts to determine how these factors influence change.
We were unable to find much data on the subject of implementation, so we'll be conducting a mixed methods exploratory study to determine what questions we need to be asking, what samples should be targeted, and what factors or change levers ought to be focused on. We think that elements of the transformative cyclical method will also be useful. As part of this study, we hope to better understand power structures within school communities, discover who has control of what area, and learn about the world views of stakeholders and the processes that enable them to work together in facilitating positive change.
Because our study is exploratory, we don't yet know what variables we will be looking at until we conduct the study.
The data collection will be administered by Russ, Duncan, and Clarence, Ames. They'll go to select schools around Utah and conduct interviews and take notes in order to determine what factors influence implementation. For schools outside of Utah, they will conduct interviews and gather information via phone and email.
Because we are studying implementation rather than a specific program or intervention, we will examine what has been done, what works, and why things have been successful.
To analyze the data we gathered, we will use open coding, examining all the content gathered to look for patterns and themes to highlight factors that remain consistent through the majority of cases.
We anticipate that through this study, common factors will emerge across multiple cases of successful implementations, giving us an idea of the factors individuals can focus on to make the implementation of their ideas succeed. We expect to find data about factors such as attitude, buy-in, leadership styles, and positive culture.
We recognize there may be some threats to the validity of this study, including personal bias. For example, those conducting the study think that ideas have greater value when they're put into action and tested, a point on which not everyone agrees.
Additionally, there may be bias in our interviewees. These individuals may be biased because they are in positions of power and may not want to tell the whole story. Because they will be self-reporting, it is also possible that their perceptions of personal contribution or influence may be inaccurate or incomplete.
In some positions, people are concerned that what they may say could impact their power or position. This may also influence the findings of our study.
To conclude, our goal in this study is to find factors that influence the successful implementation of education programs, with the ultimate goal to inform the creation of a curriculum that will provide teachers, administrators, and hopefully even parents with the tools and resources they need to put ideas into practice that will make a positive impact in the lives of students.